Hello there, I'm Haylena Krishnamoorthy and you're tuned in to 7Edition. The top stories: mountains of British rubbish found in Ipoh jungle. Nigerian man charged over Siti Karina's murder. And UK's Farage-led Brexit party triumphs in EU vote. We begin tonight's bulletin with this story. Plastic waste from the UK has been found discarded in mountains of rubbish up to 6 meters high in the jungles near Ipoh, Perak. The rubbish is apparently shipped from the UK to Malaysia and is initially intended for recycling. A new BBC documentary that was released recently revealed that the plastic waste that was intended for recycling in the UK ended up being dumped in a wasteland deep in the Malaysian jungle. In the documentary, celebrity chef Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall picks out countless of plastic bags from supermarkets familiar to the Brits, such as Tesco and Sainsbury's. According to the UK government, millions of tons of plastic packaging are used by British homes and businesses every year, and a large proportion of this is then sent to other countries. After China's ban on waste imports early last year, Malaysia became a top destination for recycling the UK's rubbish. Between January and August 2018, the UK exported over 88,000 tons of plastic scrap to Malaysia, more than a quarter of the UK's total plastic scrap exports. Meanwhile, Perak Department of Environment Director Nur Azizi Adinan was reported as saying that the BBC was misleading. He said the mountain of plastic waste was actually located within the compound of a recycling plant in IGB Industrial Park in Ipoh. The recycling plant was operating legally and being monitored by his department. A female clerk in Kelantan became the latest victim of the Macau scam syndicate when she lost more than 500,000 ringgit in a span of 1 month. The woman in her 40s from Tanah Merah lodged a police report on Saturday after she realized she was cheated by the syndicate. Kelantan Commercial Crime Investigation Department Deputy Chief Superintendent Ahmad Azizul Mohammed said the victim received a call from a woman early last month and was informed that a letter was issued to her by the Inland Revenue Board, which stated that she failed to pay taxes amounting to 24,000 ringgit.
Seminggu kemudian, dia telah dihubungi pula oleh satu lagi pegawai yang lebih kanan berpangkat ASP. Dia bagi Sabah menyatakan untuk memudahkan siasatan dijalankan, meminta mangsa ini membuat pindahan wang ke beberapa akaun. Jadi daripada pertengahan bulan 4 sehinggalah terakhir pada 21 Mei 2019, mangsa telah membuat sebanyak 12 transaksi pindahan wang berjumlah 534,000. Jadi pihak polis ingin meminta orang ramai untuk berhati-hati apabila menerima panggilan.
Azizul said 37 Macau scam cases were reported by Kelantan police so far, with losses amounting to 2.2 million ringgit. Last year alone, 121 cases were reported with losses amounting to 10.2 million ringgit. The public are reminded to avoid revealing their personal information, such as bank account and credit card details, to others. In Johor, 2 women believed to be Chinese nationals were nabbed by members of the public, allegedly for scamming senior citizens at a market in Taman Mega Ria, Johor Bahru last week. A 3-minute 20-second video, which went viral since May 25th, showed the duo said to have been posing as shamans or fortune tellers being beaten in front of a crowd at the scene.
Sesiapa saja, you cannot take the law into your own hand. You kena buat report dan kita akan siasat apa yang penipuan yang dia telah lakukan dan kita akan ambil tindakan. Apalagi dia pula warga negara asing, bukannya warga negara Malaysia. So kita perlu ambil tindakan. So bila you ambil tindakan begini, kita akan siasat terhadap you juga. Report pun dia tak pernah buat, diorang tak buat. In the first place, they did not buat report and they take the law into their own hand, which saya tak boleh tolerate benda macam tu.
The case is being investigated under Section 420 of the Penal Code for cheating. In the video, the foreign women looking dishevelled could be seen being bound at the wrists with strings and crying in pain from being hit with a stick by an individual. Several people also threw fruits and eggs at these suspects, who have been remanded until tomorrow to facilitate police investigations. Elsewhere in Perak, 283 mud rumpet were detained for illegal racing on the West Coast Expressway, WCA Banting to Taiping stretch near the Ayer Tower exit, which is yet to be open to public. Mahjong Police Chief ACP Muhammad Hanif Othman said the illegal racers were detained during the Ops Khas Samseng Jalanan Ramadan operation yesterday after a week-long investigation. The operation was carried out from 3 p.m. yesterday until midnight. The riders had to push their machines over 5 kilometers to the police station. Police also seized 11 motorcycles, while a total of 374 summonses were issued for various traffic offences, including illegal mortification and underage riding. Nine Penang Road Transport Department JPJ enforcement officers will be charged at the Butterworth Special Corruption Court tomorrow. They were the first batch of JPJ personnel detained in connection with the lorry driver protection racket case. The nine are expected to be charged with 162 counts of bribery under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act. If found guilty, they can be jailed up to 20 years and a fine of at least 5 times the bribe amount or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher. These suspects were alleged to have accepted bribes from a lorry company to overlook offences committed by its drivers. Another 21 JPJ officers are also expected to be charged over the next month. Some 75 enforcement officers were believed to have received monthly payments of between 10,000 and 32,000 ringgit as inducement for not taking action against errant lorry drivers and for leaking information about JPJ operations. Terengganu Sultanah Nur Zahira has applied to the High Court for her 300 million ringgit defamation suit against Sarawak reporter editor Claire Castle-Brown and 2 others to be decided via summary judgment. She filed the application via lawyer Datuk Haziq Pillay Abdullah on May 13th.
The facts are in the affidavit. Basically, what we are saying is that based on the law of defamation, the judge has got the discretion to decide as to whether the statement made by the first defendant, which was published by the second and third defendants, were indeed defamatory. Now, if that happens, what would mean is that Her Royal Highness would not be required to give evidence.
If the court allows the application, the plaintiff or the Sultana would not have to give evidence in a trial and the burden of proof lies on the defendants. The court fixed June 17th for case management. In the defamation suit filed on November 21st last year, Sultanah Nur Zahira claimed that Brown's statement in her Sarawak Report book in August 2018 could be taken to mean that she was involved in corrupt practices. She claimed the book had also portrayed her as having used her status to influence the establishment of Terengganu Investment Authority and help Jolo or Low Tek Jo to become the advisor of the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Elsewhere, a married couple has been remanded for 7 days to assist investigations into the death of a 2-year-old boy. The toddler died on Saturday and was believed to be a victim of abuse. Yan District Police reported today that the 28-year-old man and his 22-year-old wife tested positive for drugs. It was earlier reported that the victim, Muhammad Akil Hairi Muhammad Azrul, died from internal injuries sustained as a result of being violently hit with blunt objects. The child was found unconscious in a house on Jalan Yan, Gor Cempedak on Saturday before his stepfather rushed him to hospital where doctors pronounced him dead on arrival. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for murder. Now, a scrap metal collector looking for discarded cans was shocked to find a body of a man instead in some bushes in front of a bus stop in Gombak, Selangor today. In the noon incident, the 60-year-old immediately alerted the police on the gruesome discovery at Jalan Gombak heading to Templars Park. A team of forensic investigators and tracker dogs from the police K9 unit were then rushed to the scene. Initial investigation showed injury marks on the victim, believed to have died less than 12 hours before the body was found. District Police Chief ACP Samsur Maruf confirmed the case, adding that police are waiting for the post-mortem report to determine the cause of the death. The case is now being probed under the Penal Code for murder. Now, in another shocking discovery, a shop owner in Medan Ipoh Raya found a woman hanging in a shop at about 6:30 p.m. yesterday. Soon after, a police team from the Sungai Senam police station arrived at the scene. Officers detained a man claiming to be the victim's husband.
Ada seorang lelaki dipercayai warga Myanmar ada sedikit membuat kacau di kawasan ini. Dan dia mengatakan wanita yang mati ini adalah isteri dia. Jadi kita tak mahu dia mengganggu siasatan kita, kita tahan dia buat sementara.
No criminal elements were found and police have classified the case as sudden death for now. Police said the victim's identification could not be found in the building, but from the information obtained, the woman is from Myanmar. The victim's body was sent to the Raja Permaisuri Bainun Hospital for post-mortem, while authorities checked with the United Nations for Refugees, UNHCR, to identify the woman. When we come back, ghostly figure appears amid riot. Details next. Now, let's hop on to our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Earlier this week, Indonesian streets were filled with mass riots amid political tensions over disputed election results. Parts of central Jakarta were in security lockdown, with streets cordoned off with rolls of barbed wire and tens of thousands of police and military troops on standby. But amidst the tense rioting, a rather haunting video of a peculiar woman went viral on social media. The videos have since garnered nearly 800,000 views.
Ibu yang pakai baju hitam, duduk bu, duduk sekarang bu. Ibu duduk sekarang, duduk. Kami peringatkan, ibu agar duduk. Ibu duduk. Ibu duduk. Duduk sekarang, duduk.
Police demanded the woman, who was wearing a black face veil with sunglasses and a backpack, appearing isolated and acting strangely, to sit down. Local authorities fear another possible suicide bombing, which came uncommon during the post-election protests. However, the woman ignored the warnings, leading to tear gas being fired at her. She is then seen walking away from the scene. Moments later, police managed to secure her and reported that there was no bomb in her backpack except for medicines, mineral water, and a small Quran. Preliminary checks say the person in question was depressed, but she is still being checked by a psychiatrist. Many were able to share their sentiments on ABC Australia reporter David Lipson's Twitter post, while praising the police's restraint in handling the situation.
Fiat Chrysler Automobiles FCA has proposed a €32.6 billion all-share merger with Renault in a deal that would create the third largest global automaker with 8.7 million in annual vehicle sales, larger than General Motors and third globally behind Volkswagen and Toyota. The two giant automobile companies are set to be in advanced talks over the proposal. FCA delivered on Monday a non-binding letter to Renault's board that proposes combining the business as a 50-50 merger. The proposal illustrates the growing desire among automakers to consolidate in an environment of increasing regulatory pressure, declining sales and major industry shifts, including towards electric vehicles. FCA noted that the deal would focus on collaborating on products and areas including connectivity, electrification and autonomous driving. The transformative merger would also add new life to the French car makers' alliance with Japan's Nissan, a relationship currently in the fallout after the arrest of former alliance CEO Carlos Ghosn. After the break, airstrikes kill at least a dozen in Syria. We'll be right back. We're back with foreign news. Nigel Farage's Brexit party triumphed early Monday with 32% in the European elections that Britain was never meant to hold, while the ruling Conservatives suffered a historic blow where they slumped at 9% of the votes. This puts the UK further from a Brexit reversal, perhaps via a second referendum, as Farage plans to come up with a new one. Early results show that the European Union Parliament will be much more fragmented over the next 5 years, with the established centrist bloc set to fall short of securing a majority at this week's election. The current projection from the election is that centre-right and centre-left blocs will end up with a total of 329 seats out of 751. Now, the lack of a majority for the centrist bloc, comprising the centre-right European People's Party, EPP, and the centre-left Socialists and Democrats, SND, which still remains as the largest bloc, could further complicate decision-making at the EU. In France, Emmanuel Macron's centrist alliance was narrowly defeated by Marine Le Pen's Eurosceptic National Rally, winning 22 seats, a marginal victory for Le Pen's party, marking a symbolic victory for nationalist supporters across the bloc. Chancellor Angela Merkel's Conservative Alliance, Christian Democratic Union, and its partner, the Christian Social Union, secured the most seats in Germany, with the Greens and the Anti-Immigration Alternative for Germany party set to finish second and fourth, respectively. Meanwhile, in Italy, Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini's Lega party picked up the most votes, comfortably beating its coalition partner, the Five Star Movement. The Environmental Party doubled its score in Germany since the last 2014 EU elections, knocking the Social Democrats off their traditional second place. In France, the Greens were number 3 with 12%, while garnering double digits in Austria, Ireland and the Netherlands. In Britain, they were on 12.4%, beating the ruling Conservatives into 5th place. Voter turnout rose this year to 51% of eligible voters across the 28 member states, up from 43% in the 2014 election. The European parliamentary election is the second largest democratic exercise in the world after India, with over 400 million people across 28 nations voting for their new representatives. That wraps up 7Edition this evening. We leave you with visuals of surfers across the world gathering at France's southwestern coast for the 2019 World Longboard Surfing Championship. I'm Haylena Krishnamoorthy. Thanks for tuning in and good night.